In the opening scene, our main character Isabelle feels unhappy for being denied access to touch the ornaments on the Christmas tree. She isn't even allowed to have a gingerbread house because her mother just cleaned up and wouldn't want the house to be a mess. She sits down talking to her dog and wishing for the day to come when she will be free to have her own real Christmas tree, picture with Santa, and many more, as she updates her Christmas list. 25 years down the line, Isabelle is now a grown woman. She hangs the ornaments on the Christmas tree as it is that time of the year again. Her mom walks in and they start talking about the old family tradition at Christmas, when her eyes see her old treasure box. Surprised to see it, she picks it up and opens it. She is filled with joy, seeing the things she hasn't thought about in a pretty long time. Her mom seeks to know where she'll be going with her boyfriend for the Christmas holiday. Isabelle sees her old Christmas list and she picks it up with so much joy. Then, she rushes to her computer to search for the perfect Christmas town where she could get all the snow she desires. In the next scene, she gets celebrated at work as the award-winning VP of Designs, and they all make a toast to her. She accidentally rubs the cake she's holding on her dress as a lady brushes past her by mistake. She apologizes and goes somewhere to change her dress. Her boyfriend comes around, and we find out she's going to spend 7 days with him since she's done with work. She informs him of the reservation she made for them at a perfect Christmas town, and hands him her bucket list which she had written from her childhood, tagged, the Christmas list. They talk about the items on the bucket list, knowing it's supposed to be a getaway for them. However, he destroys the mood by telling her their factory in Rio is in a mess, so he has to fly down there. He promises her he's going to meet her there. She clutches their flight ticket for the next morning in disappointment while he leaves. The next day, she arrives at her Christmas destination. She soon starts setting up the house, designing it the way she deems fit for Christmas. Then she takes note of her bucket list, ensuring she fixes everything on it that needs to be in the house. She goes for a walk outside to shop for a real Christmas tree. She comes across a perfect tree and decides to take it home with her. But then, someone else is standing behind the tree admiring it the same way she does. The both of them start arguing about who saw the tree first. His heart is set on getting the tree for the kid with him named Kyle, so he's not ready to give it up. He introduces himself as Jamie. Just then, Kyle invites Isabelle to a show at his school where he will be playing the clarinet. Jamie butts in, saying they are in the middle of a negotiation. Isabelle believes there's nothing to negotiate about. According to her, she chose that particular tree 25 years ago, and it even has the same shape, size, and color. Additionally, she's been dreaming about it, as it fits the idea of Christmas she has in her head. Jamie stands there, staring at the lady in utter surprise. He tells her to help him find another tree for Kyle. Fortunately, Kyle quickly finds another tree. They all laugh at the silly situation and he brings up his show again. Everything is settled as they go their separate ways. Isabelle drags the tree along on her way home. Jamie drives by, offering to assist her in dropping it off at her place. He asks about her boyfriend and she admits they are reassessing things. Upon getting to her place, he admits that she's right, complimenting how the tree suits her place. This is her first time having a real tree, because her mom didn't like them. They talk about other things while she adds some ornaments on her tree. He offers to go get her some firewood. Just then, her boyfriend video calls, informing her that he might be delayed for a few more days. When Jamie walks in frame, he asks who is with her. She lies, saying it's just a lumberjack man. She loudly bids goodbye to Jamie, who is on his way out, asking him to give her regards to his wife and son. Jamie clarifies that they are his sister and nephew. This surprises her as she walks to the door. The next day, she goes shopping for gingerbread items. After getting back to her house, she struggles to mix up the right amount of ingredients needed. She makes a mess with the oven and the house gets filled with smoke. The fire alarm starts ringing, and she calls through to the fire department. When they arrive, she is surprised to see Jamie among them. Jamie is also surprised to find out she made such a mess from just cooking. The fireman who came in with Jamie tells her she doesn't need the fire department, but a cleaner to clean up the place. He also advises her to avoid the oven before he walks out of the house. Jamie offers to help her clean up, and she starts talking about how she woke up in the morning and decided to partake in the annual gingerbread contest. This is why she bought everything she would need to build a gingerbread house. Jamie finds the whole thing amusing and he explains that in a gingerbread contest, everything is pre-baked. He guarantees her a spot on the table if they drive into town. Suddenly, her mom calls her and she gets worked up after seeing a fireman in Isabelle's house. Luckily, the reception starts fluctuating and she disconnects the call. At the contest, Isabelle sits with some kids, each trying to build their gingerbread house. Jamie causes her to lose concentration and the roof of her gingerbread house comes off, making all the kids laugh. She gasps and asks how much time she has left, and she starts fixing her house with so much speed. Soon, time is up. Unfortunately, she ends up getting last place in the contest. After the contest, they walk to the carousel. Jamie wonders why she is fascinated with gingerbread houses. Isabelle recalls the woman who owns a bakery in her neighborhood. She recounts how this woman used to make an amazing gingerbread house by the window, and she would just pass by imagining the perfect cookie woman in her perfect cookie house. The carousel starts moving and they talk about Brett Bishop's designs, which is where she works. Jamie is surprised to find out she is a designer, amazed that she even designed what she's wearing. Since their conversation seems to be going well, Jamie invites her over for lunch. Later at the lunch date, Patty compliments Isabelle's jacket. Jamie quickly points out that she designed it herself, leaving Patty astonished, since such jackets are not easily found in their area. Back at Isabelle's apartment, Jamie assists her in adding the light he had earlier suggested during their lunch date. After turning the lights on, Isabelle finds it to be the most beautiful Christmas tree she has ever seen. Jamie tells her to lie down so they can try out something he used to do as a kid whenever there is a Christmas tree as big as hers. Isabelle doesn't understand what he is trying to do, so he tells her to just look and see what the Christmas sky looks like. She finds the lights under the tree to be spectacularly beautiful. She thanks him as she ticks the holiday light off her Christmas list. She wakes up the next morning to her mom entering her house and packing her boxes along with her. She is surprised to see her mother, who can't believe she is lying comfortably under the Christmas tree. She hands her a note she found under the door, requesting to know who Jamie is, and also where her boyfriend is. Isabelle informs her that her boyfriend will join her soon, so she doesn't have to stay with her because there is no space. Her mother realizes there is a real Christmas tree in the house and promises to properly fix the lights later, not understanding that Isabelle doesn't want her to stay. Later on, the two are in the kitchen and her mom asks for Brett. Isabelle explains the situation. She needs alone time with him to figure out what their relationship is. Her mom finds fault in the way Isabelle celebrates Christmas, expressing her dislike for the Christmas tree and gingerbread house. Isabelle explains they are all things that are important to her, but her mom condemns the idea of her being by herself and having nothing to do. Despite this, Isabelle invites her to watch Kyle's show. At the show, Kyle is dressed as a nutcracker and reveals that he can't take part in the actual show because their ballerina teacher, who is supposed to lead the girls in the dance, broke her arm. He and his crew members are sitting, looking all downcast, so Isabelle talks to them. She convinces the girls that they can dance without their ballet teacher. She also offers to dance with them, as long as they teach her. This makes the kids super excited. They all dance enthusiastically alongside Isabelle, who is more than glad to share their joy. On their way out, Isabelle's mom admits that the place has its charms, and she may have been wrong all along. Jamie adds that it's something one wouldn't usually see in San Diego. Isabelle's bucket list to see a nutcracker is fulfilled. Later, she sees a holiday van to take the children sledding, and suggests they also go on a sleigh ride. Her mom finds it ridiculous, but Isabelle insists she has to live her Christmas dream. Jamie accompanies her for the sleigh ride. He asks what the story behind the sleigh ride is, because there is always a story to tell of the things she so desires to accomplish. She talks about the movie called White Christmas, explaining how she wants to experience Rosemary Clooney's happy ending. They grab their tubes and set off to Jamie's special snow mountain, where he directs her on what to do. Isabelle is so excited, she doesn't even let him finish talking before jumping on the tube. She slides down roughly, screaming. So Jamie rushes to come rescue her. Upon realizing she is fine, he catches up with her and kisses her lips. Isabelle looks at him bewildered, wondering how he could just kiss a person like that. She gets up and starts to walk away from him. He apologizes and runs after her, handing her a piece of paper where she wrote her bucket list. He tries to make her understand she doesn't have to plan her Christmas so delicately. All she has to do is let things flow naturally. Irritated, she explains with a pained voice that her Christmas had never worked out the way she wanted it before. It always comes with too much stress and a whole lot of unpleasant things. This is why she would like it to just be perfect for once. She completely misunderstands him, yelling at him to take her home. After getting home, she sees her mother redecorating the Christmas tree. She wonders why she is back so early. Instead of answering, Isabelle angrily packs her bags, saying she plans to call Brett and tell him not to bother coming because she's leaving. Her mom thinks it's about the lights, but she assures her that it's about herself and her unrealistic expectations. Her mother advises her to stop being hard on herself, which she had always been doing since she was young. She recalls Isabelle refusing to bring home her artwork, all because she colored outside the line when she was just 5. Isabelle keeps whining since she feels unnecessarily mad at herself. Her mom tells her to stop doing that to herself and insists they need to talk. They sit by the fireplace outside and her mom explains what happened with her father. She begs for her daughter's forgiveness for passing down her perfectionist traits to her. Isabelle believes there's nothing to forgive, because there's nothing wrong with being organized. Her mom assures her that there is nothing wrong with her plans going awry, or things not being perfect the way she wants. Furthermore, she lets Isabelle know that she might not want to jeopardize whatever she has with Jamie, just because of Brett. The ladies end their conversation with laughter. Isabelle visits the fire department in search of Jamie, but the captain directs her to the toy shop. Upon getting there, she meets Jamie's mom, who introduces herself as Mrs. Kathy. Isabelle apologizes for the misunderstanding they had earlier. While they are talking, a little boy and his mom walk in to see the notice that Santa is gone. The little boy is almost moved to tears, disappointed that he won't get to meet Santa. However, an idea occurs to Isabelle. She suggests that Jamie act as Santa to cheer the little boy up. Later, the little boy gets so excited to the point where his face lights up with a broad smile, seeing Santa is back. Isabelle beckons him to sit on Santa's lap and tell him what he wants for Christmas. The boy follows, listing out the things he wants. They try to convince him to lower his expectations, but he is stubborn. Later, Isabelle and Jamie laugh as they look at the photo Kathy took of them with David while they are performing. Just then, Brett's call comes in and Jamie excuses her. She informs Brett she's having a good time, but admits it's not the same without him. He then reveals that she will see him soon. Meanwhile, Isabelle accomplishes a wish on her bucket list to take a picture with Santa. Back at the toy store owned by Jamie's mom, Mrs. Kathy applauds what Isabelle did with David, and also invites her over for dinner. Jamie offers to pick her up. As Isabelle walks out of the toy shop, Jamie looks at her with an endearing gaze. In the next scene, Mrs. Kathy expresses how glad she is that Isabelle joined them for dinner. Isabelle thanks her and even offers to help her in the kitchen. But the whole family suddenly exclaims she shouldn't. Isabelle realizes Jamie told them about her cooking disaster, and they all laugh about the incident. After the dinner, Isabelle compliments Kathy's meal. On her way to get some napkins, she sees Jamie's first construction project and marvels at it. Afterward, Jamie and Isabelle sit outside and she compliments his family. She envies what he has, which is a family unlike hers, revealing she is an only child. Jamie hands her a gift, which surprises her because it's not even Christmas yet. To her astonishment, she finds out the gift is a bracelet with a tree, a gingerbread house, a sleigh, and her Christmas wish. She appreciates the gift, thanking him for everything he has done for her. Suddenly, she receives Brett's text, informing her that he is in town. Jamie drops her off and Brett walks up to the car asking who she's with. She introduces both men to each other, and Brett insists Jamie join them inside. Upon entering, she is surprised to see that Brett has already arranged the table. They share wine as they toast to Christmas. Brett is all chatty and Jamie feels a bit awkward seeing Isabelle with her boyfriend. Brett mentions that she must have been really busy, seeing that there are so many checks on her bucket list. She tries telling him most of those things just happened on their own. He quickly suggests ice skating the next morning to take it off the list. Jamie offers to help them get an early ride in an indoor rink. After this, he leaves, feeling a bit sad. The next morning, Isabelle battles with lacing her shoes and Jamie asks about her boyfriend, who isn't with them. She wonders how he managed to get the rink's key, so he explains he used to work there before he got into construction. Isabelle has no experience in skating, so he guides her by standing by her side. Brett announces his presence holding a bunch of roses. Jamie excuses himself and bids the couple farewell, also informing them they have until noon to have fun. Brett hands the flowers to Jamie on his way out as he focuses on Isabelle. She is surprised to see that he's good at skating already. He guides her during this activity. Thus, another of Isabelle's wishes on her bucket list gets checked. While they're eating, Brett confesses he can't wait for everything on the list to get fulfilled so he can just rest. Isabelle suggests he forget about the list, telling him they should probably head home. Meanwhile, Jamie walks into Patty's store, handing her the present he got her. This is when Isabelle informs him they will be leaving for California before Christmas. Jamie is surprised to hear Brett say how Fall Rivers is not for them. So he bids them farewell and acknowledges it's been great meeting them. He rushes out, unable to control his emotions. Isabelle runs after him to clarify their relationship. He boldly declares that Brett isn't right for her as he's only concerned about himself and his work more than her. Isabelle questions why he would say that and starts reasoning with him. Jamie, unable to keep his feelings to himself, suddenly pulls her in for a kiss which she reciprocates before pulling off. He doesn't apologize for kissing her this time, but he promises to leave her alone if that is what she wants. After confirming that she indeed wants to be left alone, he drives off. The next morning, Brett unwraps a present she got him and finds a shirt. He then hands her a present which contains details for a two-way trip on a private plane. He tells her that they should start packing. Isabelle isn't enthused by this, but she doesn't want to disappoint him. They start packing boxes and discussing Isabelle's new idea when Brett receives a text that he has to respond to. Disappointed, Isabelle feels unhappy since Brett's work is interrupting their alone time, so she gets out of the car and heads to Kathy's store. Upon getting there, almost immediately Jamie walks in on them. Kathy talks to him in private. Isabelle confesses she was hoping to see him since she didn't like the way they parted ways the previous night. He wishes her a safe flight and leaves her standing with uncertainties in her eyes. She walks around the shop when Kathy walks in, saying that Jamie is a good man and he has a soft spot for her. She also adds how he needs a woman who challenges him like Isabelle does. It's pretty obvious that Isabelle feels the same way. She walks out of the store to find Brett still texting. At the airport, Brett informs her they will be on their way in 10 minutes. She wonders if he had any fun, to which he admits that he did, when they were skating. However, he thinks they could have found a skating rink in California as well. He doesn't want her to worry since he knows she didn't get to experience everything the way she hoped, but at least they gave it their best. or so he thinks. He assures her he'll spend more time with her as soon as he's free from work duties. Shockingly, she informs him she can't go with him to California. He apologizes to her, promising to set up a meeting for her idea. However, she already made up her mind. Brett thinks her decision has something to do with Jamie, but she clarifies that it's about her. She wants to take some time for herself, so she heads back to the cabin, leaving Brett at the airport. Upon getting there, she admires the present given to her by Jamie. She smiles and an idea pops into her head. Outside Jamie's house, they can hear the carolers singing, so they run out to watch them. Jamie is surprised to see Isabelle standing among them. She informs him with a smile that she couldn't leave without fulfilling everything on her bucket list. He wonders if it's the end of her and Brett. Might as well be. She asks if he knows anyone from a construction company who can help her with a new business idea she wants to work on. The two stand close facing each other and the atmosphere around them warms up. Jamie asks her about the second business she has pending. She shows him the bracelet he got her, directing his attention to the question mark signifying her secret Christmas wish. She brings out a mistletoe and she raises it above their heads. Then she stares deep into his eyes as she reveals her secret wish, which is to kiss a man she loves under a mistletoe. Jamie smiles as he kisses her lips passionately, checking the last wish on her bucket list.